Well, hello there, everybody. I think it says we be live. So we are alive, at least in this realm. Happy Prosperity Day to you. That's what Mondays are. I like calling them Prosperity Day. Hey, certainly makes it better than a moon day. So what's up, everybody? So good to see you all. Thank you for tuning in. I speak favor over us all. And as I hit the buttons all the way around, then we start, and now we'll never come down. So Bosto, happy birthday if you got one. And again, hey, happy Prosperity Day. Claim it. If you don't, then someone else will just take it. Hey, Chloe, what's up, girl? Good to see you. Big Al and Susie and Nina, good show. Isby, Dave, Sullivan, how you doing? Gaia, Bert, Courtney, who will be on Thursday. Look into it, my dear. The email's fine. I think we're going to have more than enough to talk about the approach that you were approaching. I think it's cool. David, how you doing? Barry, 75. He'll be doing, I think, a show right after this one, a reading, if I got that. Go, good to see you. Gabriel, hello. Andrew, I have the maelstrom. John Price, good to see you. Hey, Kaz, much love to you, darling. Want to get you on. You ought to come on tomorrow with Trina and I. Gilbert, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Ballot Brand has a show right after mine. Check it out. Hey, prosperity. You've got people who know how to operate through systems. So that is one. Ballot is the type of guy that if you plug in, I told you this before, you'll be thanking yourself. You'll be going, oh yeah, I'm glad I did that. So Ballot Brand, we love you, man. Thank you for your talents and gifts. Far out. Hey, Amy, what's good to see you? David Wrestler, hello. What's up? Who else is out there? So, William, good to see you as well. Tamara, hello. Good to see you. Hermes, yes, good to see him. We're honored. That's all I got to say. Scotty Boy, good to see you. Melinda, hello. Delaney Pearl Jones. I left a link to her video on Facebook. Check it out. Seriously. That's some wild stuff, my darling. Hey, Shannon, what's up? Good to see you. What else is happening? So tomorrow's Trina and I. Then Wednesday, we got the dudes. Hey, we got, the feminine representation on Friday. Well, this Wednesday, we're going to have the masculine. Don't know about the dress code. None, right? Hey, Divine Empress, good to see you, dear. Linda, hello. Fun show on Saturday, no doubt. And then on Thursday, I have Courtney Mack coming on. Going to love the conversation. We got brilliant people here. That's all I got to say. So, yeah, looking forward to it. I had more than enough to talk about. Hello, Marie. Good to see you. Balanka, hello, my dear. Always good to have you with us. AFI, good to see you. Group hugs. Cheers. That's the way I look at it, too. Okay. So, finished the book and made a number of notes. This book is well worth the read. It's worth the time. You will be, well, let me say from my perspective, it validated a lot and added to that validation with a lot of knowledge, a deeper understanding of the reality that we actually live in. And we're going to get into this. This is a book that's well worth us to go through. And, obviously this week won't be able to get to the rest of it until Friday. But lots of notes. And yeah, Mark, you did a great job, my friend. He listened in on the first day that we did the first introduction to it. And Mark Stavish, get the book. I do have it on PDF, but it's well worth to have in your library. I have got this one so marked up that, yeah, it's a good reference. And so kind of where, when I finished this, I finished at the beginning of the weekend, it left a profound thought in many, many ways. Mark, I got to tell you, the banishing aspect worked. It does. I think the thing is that most humans can't handle the responsibility, I guess, of the fact that we're creative beings. It's much better to get down the rabbit trap where you have conventional religion, conventional social cultures and norms that define who and what we are as a society, as a species. But there is an awakening in a way that many have not defined yet, because they never will. Because this awakening is the type of awakening that will alter your reality, and it will alter the reality here. It'll allow you to operate in this realm much more efficiently, much more purposely, and definitely will bring you back into the wheelhouse. The captain, you. The other thing that hit me, and it did when I actually started reading this book, was the aspect of unconditional love. We're going to talk a lot about this this week. Humans, you and I, we do not know what unconditional love is. Not in this realm. And I don't care what your argument is, I will debate you. There is no human being actually can comprehend fully what unconditional love is. Because our whole system of being in this realm is about acceptability, about being acceptable to others, regardless of what those other are, whether it's a God to you, a savior, relationship, family. We're social beings. And everything we do in this realm, religion, politics, social, you name it, is conditional. There is no such thing as salvation that does not come with conditions. Every religion, every belief comes with conditions. Yeah. You're going, hadn't thought about that. Even relationships come with conditions. We are conditioned to be conditioned. And the interesting thing about that conditioning, we see everything through that conditioning. Again, devotion, worship, praise, love, career, everything. Everything comes with conditions. So I began to meditate on just those two simple words, unconditional love. I allowed that vibration to open up the portals to see where the singleness of the egregore, the thought form that I have created in that image of unconditional love. And since I really didn't have a template to work from, I allowed the vibration to basically define what the thought form would be. And it's very interesting where it began to lead. It became very evident very quickly, we don't understand unconditional love. It's very difficult. It's foreign. And even when we begin to define the word, break it down, you know, it's kind of like someone saying, well, I had tacos on Friday. Well, if you never had a taco, you wouldn't know what they're referencing. How does a person that is sight deficient ever know what the color blue looks like? I mean, there's just a whole things we can add to that. But anyway, unconditional love. And I've been meditating on it all when I'm having things to do all day yesterday. It was just constantly in my consciousness, unconditional love, everything I was doing. And then you get into this rhythm of Thanksgiving. It seems to be synonymous and associated with the condition, the term, the reality, the dimension of unconditional love. So meditate on it. See what you come up with, and love to hear from you. All right. And, you know, we have to approach it with some, you know, jocularity, because it's difficult for us as human beings to admit this. We don't want to admit this. No, Wayne, you're wrong. No, but Wayne is right. No matter what relationship, no matter what God or whatever it is that you believe in to that deity, I don't care what you say, it has conditions because you have conditions. You know, this is a high holy week. Well, yeah. So the other thing that this book brought out, hello, S. Lee, how you doing? So in as it goes up, there we go. So in the Star Trek series, and I think that there we go. I hope there we go. Things a little slow. In the series, the episode, The Time's Arrow, where Data went back to 19th century San Francisco, the 2-hour episode was predicated on the fact that there were these beings, these energy beings that could travel through time, and they had the ability to feed off of humans' emotions, feelings, and they would capture them, pull it out of their body, and then subsequently take it to the hive to be consumed. Much like a straw. And it got me thinking about the fact that in so much of what we see today, the vast majority of people just don't believe that there are other life forms around them. Oh, they'll believe in the tooth fairy and the ghost stories. And, you know, if you're particularly of a religious indoctrination, you have your boogeymen, you know, the demons. And, you know, but you really don't see them, you know. Most people aren't bothered by them. So why should I be, right? It's quite interesting. The reality of that is, they're everywhere. And the door that this book opens up is, number one, it plants the seed with the reader that it is possible to see these. Not only is it possible to see them, it's actually possible to encounter them. If you're versed in lucid dreaming, astral traveling, meditating, getting into self-hypnosis, a trance. When you become aware of them, it changes. And it's like those of you who have ever been out hunting or have served in the military. You know that the standard issue is camouflage. Why? Because it helps you blend in to the background. Where I find it very interesting, the series that the Expedition Bigfoot, they're using the technology and they're capturing what we now know are these other beings. But getting back to the camo, so the idea is to blend into the background. And the uninitiated, yeah, boy, it has a lot of meaning, doesn't it? The uninitiated, the untrained, their perceptual vision, they don't see anything. They see a undisturbed background. But if you've been trained and understand how it's done, the technique, and the fact that it is being done, you have a tactical advantage over the individual who doesn't see anything. So, having said that, when you become aware in your consciousness, in your mind, now the higher consciousness within us all has permission. And if you happen to be gifted, talented, and seeing, you know, the 9 gifts of the Holy Spirit, 3 of those gifts are all gifts that work what we would call in the paranormal, the supernatural. Yeah, I have that gifting. I've known others that had that gifting. It's a natural gifting amongst our species. We're all, to one degree or another, have a natural conduit to our 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th senses. Right now, we're trapped in the density where we're relate this reality to electrical stimuli and chemical maturation. That defines the reality here. But we have the ability, because we are immortals, we have these other abilities that naturally seep in. That's why they brainwash us so early to tell us that that doesn't exist, or they manipulate it into what becomes our reality. I Ching says that if you truly want to see what the future is, all you have to do is focus on what are the children focusing on. And if you understand, yeah. And if you understand that, yeah, you understand, yeah, there's, this is the time of preparation because it's running out. So, boy, having said all that. So the other thing that I was left with in Mark's book, and it's true, it actually works. At the end of the book, you learn how to get rid of these things, these egregores. They exist, they're real. They may have different names, but nevertheless, they are there, always have been. Our mortality is very short-lived. The longevity doesn't even apply to us. We're ageless. We love going through the different stages. I did this test that tells you how old your brain is. And that has a reflection on, well, a lot of things. So my brain is functioning at 29 to 35 years. And I went, I'm that old? Oh, wait a minute. But yeah. So these egregores, and if you banish them, now you can literally sacrifice them on your own sacrificial altar. We all have one. Now, if this was the first time for you hearing this, well, welcome, welcome to the reality of the real. Many of us, you use the sacrificial altar, and it's individual. You build them. And by the time you get into adulthood, you're very well versed at sacrificing many different things on your altar. Your childhood, your puppy love, the crushes. I could just go on and list more and more. You sacrifice those thought forms. I mean, that's why organizations that deal with memory are so popular. For instance, your graduating class. I didn't have one, but those of you who went through that, that's why your high school reunions become so popular. And as it continues to march through time, it becomes even stronger. Well, that's an egregore that has attached itself to that. It feeds off of that. Just picture a straw in the center of your mind, and we are the smorgasbord. We are the buffet. So a little preview to the ending of this book, and this is going to help a lot of you. And as we get more into this book, and if you want it, I encourage you to read it. I got the PDF. You really should read this. If you don't, you're really doing yourself a disservice. And don't tell me that you already know, because you're fibbing. If you knew, then you would have wrote me and told me. So, yeah. So one of the things that you find is, well, how do you basically put an end to these egregores? And the thing about them is, sadly, more negative than they are positive. Why? Because humanity is more negative than positive. We see that everywhere. So I'm a person who has been taught, and it's very natural for me, to get something that is a point of contact. Now, if I have a point of contact, then I can assign anything to that point of contact, any thought form. And it has to, remember, I created it. I am its God. And so yesterday, in a particular area that I've been dealing with, and yeah, we all do, it's just the way it is, darling. So this, you see, this is a match. This is a particular thought form that I created. It came about because of the situation that I was in. And I really never gave it much thought, or so I thought. Actually, it appears, and when I was honest with myself, we love hiding behind the mask, that And Mark, I owe you a big thanks because of the reinforcement of what I read in these words brought me to that point where, because it was a hindrance. And when I began to look at this through a different set of eyes, I saw exactly how I created it. I saw exactly how I fed it. I saw exactly how it was feeding on me. And it was interesting because I began to see how it was manipulating certain things in order to bring a higher degree of energy drawing from me. And so I went out into our garage and I have all the things I need out there. And I began to think, reach out to my spirit guide. And once I made the preparation, and folks, most of it's up here. You build your altar, you set up the surroundings of it. We all have one. And if you say, no, I don't, yeah, you do. You might want to find the key how you lock that door. Unlock that door, it's going to open up a lot of other things for you. But anyway, so I put that thought form, that egregore, into this match. And as I laid this match upon the altar, I told the egregore this. I realized that thought forms are real. You and I are a thought form. So if you and I exist, just because I can't see it, I can't see you right now that's watching me. But I'll guarantee you this, I'll guarantee you, you've got thoughts going through there. You're giving substance, you're giving creativity of energy, you're creating them. And so for this particular egregore, I knew what it was. I named it. And I said, I have a choice, and you're about to have a choice. I said, I'm going to give you the opportunity to leave, and you can find others of your kind. And these are almost the exact words I said. I said, because your kind that I have created is in abundance. But I said, I have come to a place where your and my relationship ends. And I give you two choices. You can either leave and adapt your own life form and your own energy. Most likely, I can tell you it left. I have no doubt it didn't have to go far in the neighborhood where it's attached itself. Sucks to be honest and real, but this is what happens. You've done it. You've done it unconsciously. We all have. And we've all been the recipients of these Nibiru. That's what they are. They're wandering spirits, thought forms. Not quite spirit, but many become. And they attach. Suddenly, where a person was having no issue at all, overnight, things change. And for the vast majority of the straights, they're going, what's happening? And, and they're beginning to think, did I do something? And it comes and it comes. And once it finds its where it can actually put in its, I don't know, it's injecting into you and it finds that reaction. Yeah. I said, but the other choice is this. I said, if you as so much even have a shadow on my consciousness, I said, this is you. And I said, this is your hell. I said, this is the end of you. And I said, once I strike you and ignite you and bring in fire to purify you, it will consume you. The fire will consume you as a thought form and as an egregore that has harassed me. And I said, this ritual has come to an end. I gave it about 30 seconds. It was weird. It was, I mean, it was almost palatable. It's what it kind of felt like in my spirit. You know, the rock. So Lynn's hearing me in the house as I'm coming in. And she said, what did you do? And I said, took care of some business. She said, well, there's a difference. So she could see something. And I can tell you, I have not been hindered by that thought form again. So there we go. So true story. Actually happened. I lived it. And again, Mark, I appreciate it. It's what this book does. And so spent 30 minutes to get to this point. Hey, Grandpa Brian, by the way, Wednesday, the dudes, Grandpa Brian, David Berry, David Castle, Big Al, Robert V. So I'm looking forward to it. Hey, Jenny, how are you doing? I was visiting you in the Astral yesterday. So saw a few things and yeah, glad to see you here, dear. Validates my experience. Yeah, it's true. And if you're plagued by this, it's like having, you know, have you ever been in a place? I remember I used to do a lot of surfing in my early youth. Have you ever had sand fleas, you know, where they're on a part of the beach? You know, that's what these egregores are like sand fleas. So anyway, David Berry says the trick is learning to comprehend which thoughts are your own and then telling the ones that aren't of yours to take a hike. Exactly. I am totally agree. You know, and here's another thought. So I'm writing these thoughts because, you know, wherever I'm reading, I've got these notepads, post-it notes. So here's the thing about Aleister Crowley that I got in this book. What did Aleister Crowley really accomplish? You know, he died sick, died broke. What did he really accomplish? What did he actually bring forth? And it was the saddest thing when I began to think about it. Oh, you read his books and, you know, and about how much, you know, he influenced, you know, modern, you know, occultism. Yes and no. I think there are far better individuals than Crowley out there. But then again, I look at he self-proclaimed the mantle. There you go, Linda. And I thought to myself, well, all right. He complained and it's on page 71 of the book, complained about rationing. He was in ill health and addicted to heroin. Where he became addicted to heroin was because of a back ailment or something. And he died a miserable individual. What kind of magic is that? What kind of knowledge did he supposedly gain from this? He went out afraid. He went out a broken spirit. That tells me right there that when I look at his material, he was either a fraud, a liar, or a con man. I don't know, maybe all three. Because apparently his magic was of no benefit to him. And, particularly he wrote the Liber 777. And, it seems like he was a mule more than a driver. Seems like something was using him to get a message out. It's just putting that out there. Here's the other thing. We're going to get into this book, and we will get there. So, fact, absolute fact. This was conducted in the 1928-1929 by the Zenith Corporation in conjunction with the National Broadcasting Corporation, along with the government. And these mass ESP experiments that were conducted through the Zenith Corporations and, again, NBC, proved that the vast majority of the population have psychic abilities. And the surprising thing was that, and apparently they stopped it, but they really didn't. The CIA, when it came in, it merely picked up. There are many of us that once we get, tuned in, we have exceptional skills. Yeah. But here is the point. With 100 or less of a group who will focus, who will be disciplined to take a word, a single word, and begin to focus in on that word as what the group sees that word, we can focus on a target. And this has been proven so many times, it's absurd. We can do some stuff, folks. And the powers to be, the bots that are listening, et cetera, this scares the shit out of them. Because if there are, in fact, 100 disciplined minds that have the ability to chase away all the egregores, all the random thoughts, and focus but one, and it takes effort. Some people get headaches out of it. The first time that you do this, well, it's awakening something within you. But if we could do this, it's been proven. And why? Because it's been done before. We'll read, for example, there have been a number of spiritualist groups throughout the last couple hundred years that've done this. They created a cathedral. And the interesting thing is that, and Mark, you nailed it so well. I knew this 40 years ago. Where there's two or more gathered in my name, there I am in the midst of them. Where there are two or more as agreeing as touching anything, it shall be done for them. Where there's two or more that agree, whatever they bind on earth is bound in heaven, and whatever they loose on earth is loosed in heaven. Clues all over the place. Why? You see, Jesus Christ is not actually real, but Jesus Christ is an egregore. Very powerful one. Extremely powerful one. Why? Because it has the daily devotion of nearly 2 billion people. And if you get the real serious ones, you're down to a little less than 1 billion. But nevertheless, every day they read their Bible. Every day they pray. they actually set aside time where they do this devotion. And the real interesting thing is that when you look at the structure of these subgroups, for instance, a church, a coven, then you have the individual masses. Now, these are individuals who will agree that although they're not there in person, they will at 6 a.m. for the next 10 or 15 minutes, sometimes it's 30 minutes, they will do a prayer at the same time that they have found a reciprocated power source. And then if you get 5, 10, 15, 20, 1,000 who at 6 a.m. all come together at the same time with the singleness of thought, shit happens, man. And it's been right there in front of us. It's not the fact that there is, in fact, a real physical being. That doesn't matter. What is important is that in the ethereal, this is a real being. It's powerful. But so are many other type of egregores of its class. But the point cannot be lost here that it is these small groups that when they come together, disciplined, singleness of thought, they change things. They literally can change a person's reality. I have seen it happen over and over again. When I was the CEO of my company back in Austin, back in the late 90s, I had a room specifically built for my employees where they could go in and meditate. And I treated my employees exceptionally well because I knew that when they were in there meditating, that they were going to be meditating good thoughts for the egregore that I built, that I took over. That's what companies are. Companies are literally life forms. Google is a real egregore, powerful one. I dare say that most likely they are very much aware of this as well. Many companies are. Symbology, sigils, symbols, all are part. The one that you see right over there. Yeah. That's a prosperity sigil. It was made for me by one of the Soul Tribe members a couple of years ago. Works. Even when I'm not even aware of it. So here, there's at least, I know, 10 people who are disciplined enough that we could come together at a certain hour together, meditating on a single word. This is how we get better at it. We write our notes as to what did we experience. Nothing? Cool. Write down nothing. But if we were to do this for 10 minutes, it would be amazing to begin to see, because what we're actually doing is that we are creating our own egregore. And the interesting thing about creating these group consciences is that they can be both positive, if that's what the group is at, or they can, unfortunately, default to a much more lazier, lower vibration. And then just basically become a pain in the ass because not enough humans put them out of their misery. I mean, nobody likes the idea of oblivion, but hey, it's like, hey, dude, what that like? But yeah. And the point that the book was bringing out is that this is how, get this, we were talking about this on Saturday. This is how movements start. This is how they become revolutions. And once they become revolutions, they actually become part of the evolution. There's so much power available to us, but we're so inhibited by our upbringings. And whether you were impacted by religion or not, you still were. The sad thing is that this hierarchy, it covers the entire freaking planet. It's an energy and long-lived. In fact, Mark brings out in his book, where we will read this and may not even get to it in the reading today, but you can resurrect ancient egregores. You see, a thought form, unless it's literally obliterated by its creator, it will find its own existence. And it's like Lilith. I think this channel's probably done more in elevating Lilith to her rightful position of respect and honor. And it only took one mind that began to join to another. And that particular video series has 30, 40,000 views combined on it. And that has started other things. Other people that were looking for Lilith have found her through those videos. Look what we did. We either were part of resurrecting her as the thought form, or we certainly added to it. This group, again, has the ability. And the larger the groups, and this is the interesting thing about channels like in social media, most of these people are drawn because of the entertainment value or because of what I call the endorphin drip. Bad news, despairing news has a release of certain endorphins. Well, these egregores, they feed off that. They can see it. They can sense it. It actually saturates your auroric field. It points you out that you're a prime candidate for a particular action. My point is that the creators of these channels never really fully take advantage of what's really happening. They don't know. They're unaware that what they have created has now become alive. And it will have its effects, both positive and negative. We're going to get into that. But here is the sad part. For the most part, these channels never tap into this source that they've created. And as the subscriptions grow, people unawarely lend and give to that creation. The egregore gets stronger. It begins to have tentacles where it spreads out in feeding other thought forms. Now, how many channels are out there? I'd like to know. I don't know this. I'm just asking, that are attempting to do what we're trying to do, what I'm talking about here. We have the opportunity of immense power. This group is probably one of the strongest group of adepts that I know of. There are masters within this group. We bring with us this light, this eternal energy, this source. We've carried it through multiple lifetimes, multiple incarnations. It's why we do what we do. Now, I wonder if we can remove the scales from our proverbial eyes and see the vast potential that we have here. You know, I was thinking about doing this through a spirit board, but we don't need to do that. In fact, the thing that we have, the master ability, which has been proven, this experiment they did with the Zenith Corporation and NBC, they showed conclusively every human being can and does communicate telepathically. They have tapped in and they siphon this off, call it entertainment, television, tell the vision, radio. We didn't even realize what they were doing. And now you got the streaming. This is all conducted telepathically. It's a fact. You can go read the experiments and you can go see exactly the results. And that's what freaked them out. What they had to figure out was then how do you block this, but at the same time, allow it to go forth that basically captured all of us. Now, entertainment is the biggest thing out there. It's the number one industry outside of religion and politics. It's how it's done. So there are more intuitives here, more empaths, more psychics, more witches, warlocks, wizards, angelics, divine ones in this group I know personally. So what's our excuse here? What are we afraid of? What, you don't have enough time in your day? Are you completely satisfied with your position in life? Have you gotten everything? Are you fully satisfied? Have you accomplished everything? Do you feel limited? Do you feel restricted? Do you feel trapped? This group has been meeting now for nearly well over 5 years. We have built something that most of us have been completely unaware and ignorant of. Now, the question is, do you want to help build it? Do you want to help be part of actually constructing it into a place where anyone can come to? There's a vast amount of energy, vast amount of power. And the thing about it is, if we get this harnessed, it draws in what we call these other beings of a positive nature. It repels the very negative of it. That's just why this group continues to succeed. It stays small, but that's all right. Small is powerful. So if you're kind of digging the vibe where I'm at, let me know. Otherwise, what are you doing? What are you accomplishing? I mean, what's the purpose? If you cannot feed yourself, how are you going to feed others? I mean, seriously. But if you're well satisfied and fed, you can show others how they can become that way. The universe is not in lack. There is no shortage in this physical plane. There isn't. This physical plane has an unending energy source. And as we were talking about with the ladies of the Soul Tribe, we can manipulate energy. And this is the first step to doing that. We'll start out small. It's what we'll do. And then from there, we'll start to grow. Now, if this is something that you really would like to be a part of, I say let's email me. And we'll probably do a private Zoom. And those of you who wanted to do work with me on the spirit board, I think this is where we should be at. We have these natural talents and ability. I'd like to strengthen mine. I used to be a runner, and the thing about running, and many of you who run still do, be cautious of your knees. But as you know, I was putting in about 10 miles a day. You don't start out running 10 miles a day. You take it in small increments. And as we build up resistance, we expand that out. And within a defined group, what a wonderful opportunity. And it doesn't have to be real complicated. Like I said, we'll start out using, as they have done in the past, using keywords. And as the process goes, from there, we take notes. We say, okay, this is what I got. We compare notes, and then we do it again. And then we compare notes. See, Melinda, this is an opportunity. And the thing that what they found with the first radio broadcast, and as they were conducting, and you could go, and back in those days, because I always keep these close by, this is what they were giving out. Zenith would send this to their dealers. Their dealers would then give these out to their customers, and they were the cards. And this is how they conducted the experiments. And wow, I mean, this is what the results was. Yeah. So I think we can do this. I've been thinking about this, this would probably be a good Saturday thing. Maybe even a Sunday. Hey, Nina, doing this. And we'll only do it one day a week to begin with. And that way, everyone can prepare. Everyone can be hopefully in a state that when we do the experiment, and I think that we'll do it like they did in the past, we'll do it in 10-minute increments. It's going to be interesting. And the fact that this show, we have Soul Tribe members all around the world, that means is what we're immediately doing is that we're doing that connecting thing of the 24/7. It'd be pretty far out actually to have every time zone covered. But yeah, anyway, well, I had a whole other thing going, but this was interesting. Grace, you're welcome, my darling. You're welcome. And I think this is how we can do it, folks. This is something that we can work on a community project. We can impact and change lives. We have that power. We have that ability. We're not really doing anything new. This has been done in small circles and much larger ones. I'm excited to see that we have an opportunity here. And, we got some pretty sharp people here. And that's what we do. We're creative beings. We're supposed to create, and that's what we do. It's just that now we're going to do something where we actually harness the thing. Yeah. So ideally like to keep it less than 100. But hey, but and you have to be serious. We'll decide what day. I'm just suggesting maybe Sunday. It's kind of like a day where, it's pretty much a downtime anyway. And that would be less interference. And we could then project out and see what the rest of that would look like. Okay. Far out, man. Thanks for hitting the like button, and yeah. This is, I tell you, I have an anticipation within all of us that should we commit to this and actually execute this, there is no doubt our lives individually will become impacted, changed. And that becomes the plateau, the foundation, of where others begin to see the proof. And then who knows where this might go. Woo! Hey, David, very much love to you, man. See you on Wednesday for sure. Yeah. Folks, the world needs some changing. I believe that we can be the impetus for that. We can be the tip of the spear, but we have to get versed. And again, we'll exercise, we'll get ourselves in shape. And I anticipate, if it's probably the normal process, we're probably looking at 6 weeks before we start really seeing results with the core group. And we'll find out who the core group really is very quickly. And beyond that, from what I have read of others who have done this in the past, and I'm talking last couple hundred years, dramatic changes took place in every person's life. And if it's done with the focus and the intent that this group possesses, and I know can do, you become basically a well. This is a life-giving well, where, what I call soul thirsty spirits are going, all right, we can find nourishment here. All right, folks, much love to you. See you tomorrow with Miss Trina. Let me know what you think. Please email me. Email address is below in the description box, and we'll see everyone tomorrow. All right. Much love, everyone. See you later. Bye-bye.